I want the bits from Betting Weekly because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Red River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show. Yeah, give me your picks. Give me your insights. I want the bits from Betting Weekly because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win. Sometimes we don't win.
Welcome along in, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live on Thursday, the 17th of October. I've got a special guest with me today. It's Jimmy Ott from Sports Betting Paradise. Welcome to Betting Weekly Live, Jimmy.
Man, Steve, glad to be here, brother. I appreciate you having me on.
How are you doing? I hope you're keeping well.
Oh, we're doing good, man. It's football season here in the Deep South, and so it's a religion. Man, they're storming fields at the end of games. We had one here locally, LSU at Ole Miss, a couple of top 10 teams in college football going at it. So it's always it's football's in our blood, man, down in the South. So and then we got the NFL game, of course, tonight, where the Saints doesn't have a whole lot of history, but the one piece of history they have, the coach of the Super Bowl champion Saints back in about 15 years ago. He makes his return as the head coach for the Denver Broncos in his second year with the Broncos. So that's going to be we'll all be glued into that one tonight. But man, Saints are a mass unit tonight, man. They are banged up big time for this matchup. So we got a lot of angles based on those injuries tonight as well.
Yeah, so we've got a big match tonight in the NFL, like you said, Jimmy, and then two huge MLB playoff games as well. So we've got who better to come on the show than Jimmy Ott. We'll start things off with that match in the NFL Thursday night football. We've got the Broncos at the Saints, minus 150 on the money line are the Broncos. When I first saw these odds, I was like, wow, how can this be? And then I remembered that Derek Carr is injured for the Saints, so we've got a backup quarterback in operation there. The point spread is the Broncos now -3 or -2.5, depending where you're looking at. And the total points is quite a low line here, 37 at -109 for the over in this department. Obviously, team news injuries are massive heading into this contest. I mean, you said the Saints are banged up.
And we always pay attention to the quarterbacks because they're so impactful, and they're also so impactful to the line. But these injuries started. The Saints had a paper-thin roster to begin with this year, sort of mediocre expectations for them. Be about 8-9, 9-8 for the season. I think their win total was right at 8.5. But they started out like gangbusters, and they blew out Carolina. Well, Carolina is one of the weakest teams in the league, especially defensively. I mean, everybody lights up Carolina each and every week that they play them. But also, then they blow out Dallas. And Dallas on the road. And Dallas is not as good as they've been the last couple of years, but still, they're a much more talented team than what Carolina is. So, I mean, especially Derek Carr. And Derek Carr was finally given protection. His numbers, Steve, really are drastically different when he does get pass protection as opposed to when he's pressured. Well, in the first series of the Philadelphia Eagles game, the center got hurt in McCoy. He's their best offensive lineman, and he also calls out all the protections to the other offensive linemen. Other offensive linemen have been hurt now as well. They are really banged up at that offensive line. And even Carr, when he was healthy, his numbers dipped drastically with that banged up offensive line. Carr is out at the end of the Kansas City game. Enter Spencer Rattler. Now, a lot of the Saints fans are excited because they're just had enough with Derek Carr. They had enough with the head coach and Dennis Allen. They've had enough with the starting quarterback. But Spencer Rattler is a guy that's a little bit limited. He's okay. He was not the problem against Tampa Bay. Problem was, for the only fifth time in the history of the NFL, the defense gave up 300 yards passing and 275 yards rushing. So it was really bad there. I look for the Saints to have sort of a prideful rebound effort defensively. Defensively, I think they'll be okay. Denver certainly is been struggling on offense. as much of an offensive guru as Coach Sean Payton is, and he makes his return, he's got a rookie quarterback who has been so-so, to say the least. So I expect the Saints to kind of hold Denver down, but I also like the Denver's defense, even without star cornerback Patrick Surtain Jr., to have a big day. And that's because some more injuries. Top receiver Chris Olave went out with a concussion. He is out for this game. And then also Rashid Shaheem, he is out. Shaheed is out for the game as well. Steve, the Saints, when they were having a lot of their success, were just using 2 receiver sets. Most NFL teams use 3 receiver sets, occasionally 4. But they were using 2 because it was a big drop-off after their star receivers. And both of them are out tonight. So that really makes it tough on Spencer Rattler, and it's just a second start. So I think both defenses are going to have big nights tonight. I think the points are going to be thin. I think Bo Nix, his yards passing at 189.5. I think that's a little high. The reason I'm skeptical of going Spencer Rattler or some of the Saints passing yardage lower is because they could be down by double scores. And a lot of times the team that has the biggest day passing is a team that was way behind. And a lot of those yards are in garbage time at the end. But this line is on the move. It's with 2.5, and I saw on the screen it's now up to 3 at Bet Rivers. But I'm still willing to lay it at -3. But I really like the under as well at under 37. So I'm looking for a lot of punts, a lot of field goals, and field goal attempts. Keep in mind another angle is the Saints defense, even though they gave up a lot of yardage to Kansas City, they're really good in the red zone. And that is forcing a lot of field goal attempts as opposed to giving up a lot of touchdowns. That was not the case to Tampa Bay. I think the Tampa Bay game was more of an outlier rather than the rule for this proud defense. Well, I think we'll rebound. So I think yards will be tough tonight. Points will be low tonight. But I do like Denver in the under tonight.
Yeah, under 37 points is a bet you like tonight. You like Bo Nix under 189.5 passing yards. And your best bet, though, for the game is the Denver handicap, -2.5 at -120. That is, if someone has to have one bet on the game, that's the one that you would advise. You just think they're going to be too strong overall?
Absolutely. Yeah, because that magic number of 3, and that's still a soft number. So I'd be willing to lay the 2.5 minus the juice as opposed to an even 3. So, and I think that Will Lutz, the former Saints kicker, and as soon as he was cut from the Saints, Sean Payton picked him up immediately, and he leans on him. He lets him kick a lot. So, and I think because of the Saints, the Saints defense, and especially in the red zone, he'll produce more field goal attempts. And that's why I like another prop tonight, and that is Denver over 1.5 field goals. That's -127 right now at Bet Rivers. So I think that is one of my favorite props tonight as well. So field goal heavy. I mean, I could see something like 19-10, something like that tonight in this game. But Lutz should have plenty of field goal attempts. Peyton trusts him. The formula sets up for it. And I think what you had last week as well, Steve, is, again, we had that outlier. And that's what everybody saw last. The recency bias with seeing Tampa Bay just have their way and just scoring so many points. I think that's going to be a little bit of a bounce back to the norm tonight.
Yeah, 51 points. I couldn't believe that when I saw that amount being racked up. It's not too often we see a team rack up a score to that margin in the NFL. There is one player. It's got quite a low receiving yardage here. Juwan Johnson, you're quite interested in.
The reason I like Juwan Johnson is because he is the most reliable receiver after the big 2. And the 2 receivers that are coming in, Tipton is from Ivy League school. He's a rookie. And Pub Johnson, who a lot of even beat writers had to kind of search for his name. But Juwan Johnson is a dependable target. And I just think that his targets are going to go up. With his targets going up, I think his yards are going up. So if my approach, and this is what I feel strong about, the approach is a lot of unders, not just with the game, but a lot of these player props as well. But one prop that I do like is over 29.5 is +108 right now at Bet Rivers. But Juwan Johnson is going to get those targets that usually Shaheed and Olave have. So I think he could easily go over 29.5 and maybe peak if you want to be a little ambitious maybe look at one of those numbers that are higher than 29.5 at a juicier price.
Yeah, there's lots of alternative yardages you can bet on at Bet Rivers. So that's the NFL. Just a quick question here. If you had a free $100 wager on the Super Bowl, who would you take right now, Jimmy?
Oh, man.
Let's put you on the spot.
I think the best value is a team that is struggling right now, and I like them this week as well, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Hutchinson injury to the Lions is going to be impactful. They probably have the most complete team, their offensive line and their rushing game, but they're going to probably be in the market to try and bring in an edge rusher. I know they activated one, but they're going to go out and maybe bring somebody else in. But the Lions, and remember Lions in San Francisco last year, Philadelphia, they've got all kinds of problems. Washington is too young, although I love Jaden Daniels. With the Commanders, and even have a price on him at a big price at him to win the MVP. I think he's got a shot. But Minnesota, I don't think that is sustainable of what they're doing with their undefeated start so far, and Seattle as well. So I think things are going to fall back to the norm with San Francisco, and I think it starts this weekend with a big win against the undefeated Chiefs.
Okay, let's move on to the MLB playoffs. We've got the New York Yankees at the Cleveland Guardians here. This is a 2-0 lead for the Yankees in the series. Guardians at even money here. We've got the total runs line at 7.5. This is an interesting rebound situation, perhaps for the Guardians. I know we talked earlier, and you've got them down to win this series. They're 2 down. Do you see them coming back here?
No, I don't have I think the Yankees and the Dodgers are going to end up in the World Series, but I do think the spot today for Cleveland is a nice spot. Boyd against Schmidt. Cleveland, I had some divisional bets on them this year, so I followed them very closely. And they're a team, when they lost Bieber early on, like, how are they going to survive this? This is a team that was supposed to be about 500 to begin with. How are they going to survive losing their ace? Well, they were the number one bullpen for this year, and by far the number one closer. Probably finished runner-up to AL Cy Young, and that's Clase. Who was just phenomenal. Finally gave up a 3-run homer in the Detroit in Game 2 of the divisional series. But this is a team that had so many walk-off wins, so many one-run wins. They did the little things, like in the era of swing for the fences, home run or strikeout in Major League Baseball. They lead the league in fewer strikeouts. They put the ball in play. Now, Jose Ramirez is their star. He'll probably be in the top 3 in the AL MVP voting, and he's been fantastic. But Naylor gets a lot of good pitches to hit behind him, but it's not a star-studded team. It's a team that is overachieved, for the regular season. Now, the postseason is different, and I was curious how it would translate to the postseason. They got by. It was at 1 inning against Tariq Skubal, where they, in the Game 5 of the divisional series, where they hit him up for 5 runs in the Grand Slam, and they held on to win 5-3. But the biggest disappointment there is, and they've got a Gold Glove finalists littered throughout their field. But it was wild pitch to give the Yankees their first couple of runs. We saw a pop-up from a middle infielder. We saw, a pop-up dropped. We saw a fly ball to right field that was dropped. We saw base running mistakes. So all the little things that the Cleveland Guardians did all season long to have a better record, have a better season than anybody expected, all of a sudden, it was like the stage on the number one media market in New York was too big for them. I think they'll come back to Cleveland and just settle down and just play more Guardians ball, grind out at bats, be sharper in the field. And I think it's going to be a much better effort on their part. They left a lot of base runners on, especially in Game 2 in the Cole game. And a lot of teams do that. There's a lot of runners left on base in postseason baseball because the pitchers usually buckle down a little bit more, and the bullpens are certainly more fresh. That's the other thing that concerns me with the Guardians long-term in the postseason is that their number one bullpen this year, everybody's got a better bullpen in the postseason. Your 5th starter is a reliever all of a sudden. You're not playing as many games. You're not playing double headers, as many extra inning games. So I think that this is a tough team. I think they've maxed out, as far as they can go in the postseason because they're more built for the regular season. And it's a roster that is not as talented. They overachieved this year, but they can play way better than what they've played in the first 2 games in New York. They'll settle down. I don't think they're going to come back and win the series, but I like them a lot in this spot today to get a win and in front of their home crowd where they'll be much more comfortable.
Yeah, you like them on the money line here. And I can tell you, though, in terms of the actual betting breakdown, we've got 64% of the money is on the Yankees and 73% of the tickets are on the Yankees on the spread. So that's not a surprise. The Yankees are always going to be quite a public play, and 65% of the tickets are on the over here. Some big bets today placed on Bet Rivers at the time of going live. There's been a double placed on the Mets -1.5 and the Yankees money line. Plus 213, and there was actually, going back to the NFL, 2 significant 5-figure bets placed on the Broncos handicap as well. So yeah, Cleveland on the money line here for you. You've got a prop bet that you like for this game as well in the strikeouts market.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to them doing what they do best, and that's grind out at bats and put the ball in play and just which at the plate they weren't terrible. Especially in game 2. I mean, Cole, they had a bunch of chances in that one, but Schmidt strikeout, and the number is 4.5. And I like the under. This is the number 1 team at the fewest strikeouts in Major League Baseball all season long. They're going to put the ball in play. Quan, he never swings and misses. I do worry about Naylor a little bit. He's a little bit more of a free swinger at cleanup behind Ramirez, but I think this is a team that's going to put the ball in play more of their baseball. So Schmidt strikeouts, I like under -143 is available right now at Bet Rivers.
We've had a regular contributor on the chats throughout our Betting Weekly live shows called Shakespeare, and he's been strong on the Guardians throughout the sort of whole series. Really, is it worth switching sides now, or do you stay strong with your original opinion if it was you personally?
No, I think that some games. This is going to be too much of a hole to dig out of for Cleveland. Yankees are the more talented team, but the Yankees are, when they're good, they're public to begin with, Steve. Okay, so you're always going to pay a bit of a tax when you bet the Yankees. Now that they've been good this year, and now that they're ahead in this series, well, I think that's where the value is on the Cleveland money line today. So keep in mind that both Yankee Stadium and also Cleveland. I'm sorry, when Citi Field as well in the National League. It's cold, man. It's real cold. And we saw Monday Night Football. We saw the wind as well. But you saw the players in the Yankees game yesterday really got kind of going to their mouth a little bit and kind of really showing how cold it was. It's going to be just that cold, if not colder, coming off of Lake Erie in Cleveland. So both of these games are cold. What that means is ball doesn't travel as far. The numbers come down. But postseason baseball is usually under-friendly to begin with. Well, I think in both of these cases, you might see the same, especially with the Dodgers. The Dodgers in Mets with Quintana and Yamamoto as well. So. I'll see the price right there as the Dodgers are -136 and the Mets. Man, I've been and the Mets are back where they belong, where they're most comfortable, and that is behind. So you saw how they responded when they were down to the last day and they had to travel to Atlanta just to get into the postseason, and they responded. And man, they have had a bad history against Atlanta, especially in Atlanta, but they took care of business in one of the more exciting games in that play-in game on that Monday down in Atlanta. Then they go to Milwaukee and take care of business against the Brewers down in late innings, getting a 2-out, 3-run shot in the 9th inning by Pete Alonso. Down in game 2, down to the Dodgers. What happened? Well, they blew them out with a big 6-0 lead and held on to win 7-3. And now you got they're down 2-1 here in this one as well. And I look for them to bounce back. But Yamamoto is tough, and the Dodgers made sure that Yamamoto was rested in this game. So I think he is. Quintana has been really good for them this year. I think he'll be fine. So again, Dodgers are always public. Dodgers been public for 162 before they. I mean, even the futures on the Dodgers. I mean, it was razor thin with their top three, and their top three is great. Freeman's banged up right now, but I mean, please, Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts. That's three future Hall of Famers right there. But the Dodgers have gotten here with very few pitching. The biggest thing, Steve, is how they gotten all of these goose eggs out of this pitching, out of the relievers, out of the spot pitchers. Walker Buehler, 4 shutout innings last night, was out of nowhere. And I just wonder if it could continue. You saw how it reached a boiling point in Game 2, where the Mets jumped all over that relief effort in that one. But I like the Mets. I think the Mets are the money line value here. I like the under as well. And again, they're right where they're most comfortable, and that is behind, fighting for their lives. I look for big efforts. I think we're going to have an old school 1970s Dodgers versus Yankees World Series. But today in these spots, I like the 2 home teams in Cleveland and New York.
Just a quick question before we go. We had a few comments about the home runs today. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Who is more likely to hit a home run for you? Who would your money be on if you had to pick one?
I would take Judge. I would take Judge today. I like Quintana that much. He's a lefty. Maybe later when it gets into the bullpen, Ohtani is going to be a headache. Man, he hit a laser last night that might be in the head. They may be a little bit more careful of him this time. And damn it, don't pitch to him when he got men on. I mean, he's 7 of 9 with men on, with the bases empty. He's 0 for 22 in the postseason. Something about pitching from the stretch. I think it affects the pitcher more than a hitter. But those are unreal splits when it comes to Ohtani. But look, Cleveland's a tough place to hit it out. But I think that the Mets pitching is better than Cleveland's today. And so, therefore, I would think that more probable home run hitter would be Aaron Judge.
61% of the money is on the Mets on the money line. 89% of the money on the spread is on the Mets, which is interesting. So they're actually a bit of a public dog today. Goes in line with what your thoughts are for the game, Jimmy. But we're out of time. We've got to leave it. But really appreciate you coming on the show for a great talk about the NFL and the MLB. And who knows, we might see you again at some point in the future. So thanks very much, Jimmy.
Anytime. Good luck, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Take care, y'all. Stay safe, and remember to gamble responsibly. Back tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live with myself and Jack Wright. See you next time.